Here, your author has a large selection of music that he has collected. In fact, if we do a control down, it looks like 25,664 lines. So, having this information is great, but it's not very user-friendly in the way it looks. We want to create a nice looking report, something you could hand to your boss or your customers, and you would be proud of. So let's turn this into a pivot table first. And I'll just open it on another sheet. In the rows, we'll put genre, artist, and album. And under values, I'll put song, size, and duration. This now is the basis for our report. Let's first, however, change some of these labels. Instead of count of song, I'm going to say number of songs. And we have the numbers down here. That's okay. Instead of size, I'm going to call it file size. And these are in kilobytes. I'd really like it to look a little bit better and maybe put it in megabytes instead. So I'm going to right click, number format, go to custom, and I'm going to put it in as pound, comma, pound, 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 comma. The last comma eliminates the last 3 digits when I format it. And the comma before that at the beginning is every 3 digits it will insert a comma into whatever the numbers are. And then I want to say space and then in double quotes say megabytes. This will format my data nicely and I'll say OK. Much better, much more user-friendly. Finally, let's look at count of duration. You'll see that these numbers are exactly the same as the number of songs. We don't want count, we want to summarize it. But you say, those are Excel's underlying representation of how many hours, minutes, and seconds in a day. What portion of a day? Let's change that and make it more user-friendly by customizing it. And here I'll say I only want to go as high as hours, so I'll put it in the square brackets, colon, a 2-digit minute, so it'll always look nice going down the page, and a 2-digit seconds. And I'll say OK. Oh, much better. Now I can see how many hours. Looks like he has 21 hours, 11 minutes, and 17 seconds of banjo music. Let's change this from duration to length. Now the genre, artist, and album are all in column A. We want to change that a little bit. To do that, I'm going to come over here and on design, say report layout, show in outline form. You'll notice now genre is in its own column, artist in its own column, and album likewise. Let's turn off the field headers. So I'll come over here and say, let's get rid of all of those. And maybe I'd like a space after each one. So under design, blank rows, insert blank row after each item. There, that looks a little bit nicer. But let's also add a little bit more style to this. You can see the different colors and such as I go through these. Pick what you'd like. Maybe I'll do something like this. I can also set my rows to be a little bit shorter so that I can get it in all on one page. Next, I'd really like to make my genre bigger. If I clicked on here and then increase the size, it would increase it for every single row, not just the genre. But I can select the genre separately, like this, and then come down to the next one and hit Control Bluegrass. Oh, but that's a lot of work. Who knows, I may even miss some. So let's show you a different way of doing that. Click on the column, and from Home, Edit, Find, and Select, go to Special. I'm going to pick up all constants. and say OK. Now you'll notice each one of the genre are highlighted, but only that cell. And I can say bold, and I'm going to make them a lot bigger, maybe 24. This is looking a lot more publishable, so let's get the page ready. View. I'm going to turn off the grid lines outside of what's in the sheet, and let's say page layout, and let me scroll up, and in my header I'm going to create a header of my own called music list, and let's make it bold and a lot bigger. Okay, now let's add page numbering as well. I'll click over here, and in my header and footer tools, design, I'll see page number, and then I'm going to do space of space number of pages. Now I'll click off that. Oh, much better. Let me make that just a little bit bigger. I'll home, bold it, and maybe just slightly bigger. Now I've got a nice page numbering system. It looks like I must have 100 pages. I scroll down through this, and yeah, that's looking very nice, and I can see that on the top of each one of my pages is that music list. I think we're ready to go to press. This will be much nicer to have in a little folder sitting down by my music, or in this case, the author's music. I hope you'll make pivot tables yours. Many people are considered experts at Excel, and all they really know is pivot tables real well, and people look to them and think they can do amazing things. I had one of my students that after class went to his work. He worked for some lawyers, and his boss came in and asked him to take all this data that he had and format it and pull out some information for some reports. And he said, I know it'll probably take you a week or so, but we really need it yesterday, of course. And so he went to his cubicle, sat down, worked on it, and in an hour or so came back to his boss and said, is this what you wanted? And by the way, I also noticed this and this, and pulled out some other facts. His employer was so impressed he gave him a raise on the spot, and he really wanted him to come work for him after college. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you next time. Pivot tables are a lot of fun.